back to the channel. Carrying on from the last episode where we got the rear cylinder head installed, which was great. Now moving back into the clutch. So I've left all the parts on the bench still. For me, obviously, I'm carrying on straight through. For you, it's obviously a separate episode. So we're going to get the oil pump chain, water pump chain, clutch, and the big sprocket that fits onto the cog, like so. Get that reinstalled. Again, with this one, remembering that there are springs actually attached. So I need to remember to actually put that in, well, put the oil pump chain and sprocket in first, then get the water pump chain and sprocket in place, then actually put this big cog in place, and then put the clutch in place. So that's the job for today. Get as much of that done as we can. As I said in the previous episode, I can't actually torque the clutch bolt or the flywheel bolt until these pieces are done and the bike's back on the ground. Then I can put it in gear, hold the brake, and then torque it into position. So let's crack on and get these bits installed. So this is the area we're going to be dealing with. So the water pump sprocket slides in here and the chain fits on this cog, and then the oil pump chain slides over, and then the sprocket connects in, and that's the oil pump. So I need to get these two in first, then we can fit the big sprocket over the spline, and then we can put the clutch back in. So there's still a fair amount to do, but we are getting a lot closer. But I'm glad that the actual cylinder heads are actually back in place. Everything's torqued down, everything's bolted. So let's start off by getting these chains back in, which should slide on that part there. Yep. Again, you can see the large part of the cog there. Again, I'll wait until that's down on the ground, and then we'll actually torque that in. So the actual next bit, just make sure that's in the right place. Right, main basket in, and as you can see the cogs are in place by there. washer's already in the back of the clutch, so I don't lose it. And now we can start reassembling the clutch. Right, so in a basket. Right, and the last one actually sits in a different position to the rest of them. So you can see that actually sits out in this slot rather than this slot. Alright, so then we've got a washer. And then we've got the final, and then you'd have the outer cover and then the springs. Yep, that's it. Alright, so I've put the plunger back in. There's the clutch push rod. So until that nut's torqued, I can't put the actual outer plate in position. But I should be able to drop the bike down, and then we can torque this nut up. I'll have a look at the torque specifications. They're in the manual. It is quite high, I think it's 150. It's either 150 or 170, I can't remember which one. And then we need to torque this bolt as well. So let's drop the bike down and see if we can get these torqued up. Right, so the bike's now down on the ground. I've just pulled the manual out. So the primary drive gear bolt, which is this one, that's 88 Newton meters. The clutch nut, the main one, is 127 Newton meters, and the oil pump driven sprocket bolt, which is that one there, is 15 Newton meters. So we'll get them three torqued up, and then we'll move to the other side and torque up the rotor bolt. So that one's done, mainly for primary gear and bolt, and the oil pump one's done. So next is the clutch bolt. Right, so that's the clutch bolt torqued down, and I pushed in the recessed bits of metal, so now I can actually go ahead. Put the outer casing on. Right, that one did slip. Right, now I can reinstall the springs. Right, so the next one is the clutch cover gasket. it's got a couple of dowel locators. Right, so it's just a 2. Right, the other thing I need to do is obviously reinstall this sensor. Right, so that's now in place. It does take a bit of jiggling to actually get it to the right place, because obviously the water pump has got a spline behind it, goes through the sprocket, so you need to get that lined up before it actually goes through. So now it's just a case of popping all the bolts back in. Obviously remembering that some of them are actually water pump bolts. Right, so that's the last one in place. So I've just got to bolt them up quickly. Right, so all the clutch cover bolts are done up. It's just this water pump to go on. It's had a new O-ring in it. Again, it sits on dowel locators. And then just the 4 bolts. Right, we've got 2 pipes. Right, so that's the first one. Right, that's the second one. Right, so that is just about it for today. So I've got a fair amount done. To take some time, especially with the clutch. Just get everything in position and lined up. And but no, pleased with how we've come so far. I say all that is complete. The only other job I've got to do is the generator cover on the other side. I just need to pull that off, put a gasket on it because that side's all torqued up, and then put that back in and bolt it back up, and that's that side done. But I'll get that done before the next episode. It's an easy process. So right, so thanks for joining me on that one. Nice to get that side back in. That was a bit trying to get it torqued and get it in a position where I could actually lock it was quite difficult, but I got there in the end. Nice to see the bench is starting to free up. So there's only a couple of bits, just the covers for the generator side, a couple of spark plugs to put in, and the stays for the radiator. Then we can start working through putting everything else back in. So next episode, I'm just going to continue reassembly. Probably get the carbs back in, get the airbox back in, and just keep moving through until literally all the parts have basically disappeared. But as I say, everything's starting to go back in, so it's starting to look a little bit more empty in here, which is good. But pleased with how it's gone. Any comments in the comments box below? As I say, I always recommend grab yourself a manual. I can't say it and I emphasise it enough that it really, really helps. You just follow it through step by step and everything should be, well, touch wood, should be okay. Link in the description to my Facebook page. As I say, you're always welcome to pop across, say hello. I do get back to people as soon as I can. It is taking me a little bit longer at the moment. Hopefully, I'm trying to get things sorted out and shouldn't hopefully be that much longer. But it might be a case of there might be a delay in a few videos. But we'll see how it goes. I'm working hard to try and get a bunch of videos done. As I say, I tend to film them in blocks at the moment because I find it easier. And then hopefully a bit later on down the line we can go back to the normal routine where I'll just basically film 2 every week. And then that'll be it, and then I'll repeat the process as I go. So as you see the videos, I would have only just filmed them, so when you comment on them, I haven't gone further forward. Links to other videos, top left and top right, and join me again next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.